Jackie Gleason was born Herbert Walton Gleason Jr. on February 26, 1916, in Brooklyn, New York. His early years were marked by hardship. When Jackie was still a child, his father walked out on the family, leaving his mother to raise him alone. Then, during his teenage years, tragedy struck again when his mother passed away. These early struggles forced young Jackie to grow up fast, but they also forged the resilience and sharp humor that would later make him one of America's most beloved entertainers. Even as a boy, his quick wit and natural charm shone through. He would entertain neighbors, friends, and anyone willing to listen, using humor both as a way to connect with others and as a shield against the difficulties of his life. By the late 1930s, Gleason was working as a master of ceremonies in theaters and clubs, honing his comedic timing and crafting a style that set him apart in a competitive entertainment world. His big break came with the rise of television in the early days of the medium. As America was falling in love with TV, Gleason's talent was undeniable. His boundless energy, expressive face, and uncanny ability to embody unforgettable characters made him a natural star. One of his greatest legacies was the creation of The Honeymooners, the legendary sitcom that debuted in 1955. Jackie starred as Ralph Cramden, a loud but lovable Brooklyn bus driver with dreams far bigger than his paycheck. Alongside Audrey Meadows as Alice, Art Carney as Ed Norton, and Joyce Randolph as Trixie, Gleason brought to life a working-class world filled with both laughter and tenderness. Although the show's original run lasted just 39 episodes, its impact on television was monumental. Famous lines like "One of these days, Alice," "Bang! Zoom! Straight to the moon!" became part of American pop culture. Ralph Cramden remains one of TV's most enduring characters, influencing sitcoms for generations to come. Gleason wasn't just a sitcom star. He was a true showman. For years, he hosted The Jackie Gleason Show, a variety program packed with comedy sketches, musical performances, and his larger-than-life personality, drawing millions of viewers each week. His talent extended to the big screen as well. In 1961, he gave a memorable dramatic performance as Minnesota Fats in The Hustler, starring alongside Paul Newman. The role showcased a side of Gleason many hadn't seen before, a calm, intimidating pool shark whose presence commanded every scene. Critics praised his performance, proving that behind the comedian was a deeply gifted dramatic actor. Gleason even made a mark in music, producing a string of lush, easy-listening orchestral albums throughout the 1950s and 1960s. Records like Music for Lovers Only sold in the millions. His smooth arrangements and romantic tones showed that he could move audiences not just with laughter, but with emotion. Despite his fame, Jackie retained a sense of authenticity. His famous catchphrase, "How sweet it is," it became a symbol of his joy in entertaining others. Those close to him described a man who was both loud and introspective, someone who carried the scars of his youth but transformed them into creative fire. His personal life was as eventful as his career. In 1936, he married Genevieve Halford, his first and longest marriage. Genevieve, a devout Catholic, hesitated at first because of Jackie's drinking and womanizing, but eventually agreed. They had 2 daughters, Geraldine and Linda. Their marriage lasted 34 years, though it was often turbulent, filled with separations and disagreements over Jackie's lifestyle. They didn't divorce until 1970, long after he'd become a household name. Almost immediately after, he married Beverly McKittrick in 1970, a secretary he'd known for years. But this union was short-lived. Jackie's health was declining. His restlessness was growing, and after only 5 years, they divorced in 1975. Later that same year, he married Marilyn Taylor, the sister of June Taylor, whose famous dancers appeared regularly on Gleason's shows. Marilyn understood show business in a way his previous wives hadn't, and their marriage became his most stable. She brought him comfort and support as his health continued to deteriorate. The two remained together until his death in 1987. Throughout his career, Jackie Gleason moved among the biggest stars of Hollywood's golden age, rubbing shoulders with legends both on and off camera. But unlike many who kept their opinions to themselves, Gleason had no fear of speaking candidly. He famously stunned audiences and colleagues when he openly stated that some of the most adored golden age celebrities, including guests who appeared on his own variety shows, were, in his words, actually evil. He explained that not everyone who appeared charming on television had the same character behind the scenes. And he didn't shy away from naming names. One of the most shocking revelations involved Orson Welles. Known as a genius for Citizen Kane and celebrated for his commanding stage presence, Wells had a towering reputation. But Jackie painted a very different picture. Orson was brilliant, but don't let that fool you, he said. Behind the curtain, he could be manipulative, selfish, and downright cruel. He wasn't just difficult. He thrived on making other people miserable. I always said some people light up a room when they walk in. Orson lit it up when he walked out. Another name he dropped was Frank Sinatra, the legendary Old Blue Eyes. Sinatra had performed alongside Gleason several times, and on camera their rapport seemed warm. But Gleason claimed that Sinatra had a mean streak. Frank could sing like no other, he said, and when he was in a good mood, he was charming. But cross him and he'd cut you down in a heartbeat. I saw him humiliate waiters, yell at stagehands. He liked people to fear him more than love him. Gleason's comments aligned with long-standing rumors about Sinatra's fiery temper and alleged underworld connections. But hearing them so bluntly was startling to many. Perhaps most surprising of all was his take on Joan Crawford. Known for her dazzling smile and glamorous image, Crawford was one of Hollywood's brightest stars. But Jackie described her differently. Joan was one of the coldest people I ever met. She could turn on that charm for the cameras like flipping a switch. The second they stopped rolling, nothing but ice. She treated people like props, like they were beneath her. If that isn't evil, I don't know what is. Years later, Christina Crawford's memoir Mommy Dearest would support Jackie's observations, revealing shocking details about Joan's private behavior. For Jackie, these weren't just juicy stories. They were warnings about the illusions of fame. He explained, "People worship these folks like saints. But I can tell you, sainthood wasn't in the room. The same people smiling in front of the camera were often tearing someone down the second it turned off. Evil doesn't always wear horns. Sometimes it wears a tuxedo and sings a love song. Sometimes it wears a glamorous gown and waves to the crowd." These unfiltered remarks pulled back the curtain on Hollywood's golden age in a way few dared. Jackie Gleason, with his trademark honesty, reminded the world that not everything that sparkles is gold. His final film appearance came in 1986 with Nothing in Common, opposite Tom Hanks. He played an aging, sharp-tongued father in a role that echoed parts of his real life. Audiences were moved by his layered performance, but few knew that he was privately battling colon cancer, which had spread to his liver. He was also suffering from phlebitis and the complications of diabetes. True to his showman's spirit, Jackie kept his illness private, continuing to perform with quiet determination. Less than a year later, on June 24, 1987, Jackie Gleason passed away at the age of 71 at his Florida home. His passing marked the end of an era. His legacy, as a comedian, actor, musician, and truth-teller, continues to shape American entertainment decades later. Jackie Gleason wasn't afraid to make people laugh, and he wasn't afraid to tell uncomfortable truths about the world he helped define.